Chinese Premier Li Keqiang returns to his seat next to President Xi Jinping, after delivering a work report at the opening session of the National People's Congress at Beijing's Great Hall of the People. Reuters. Beijing, China said on Sunday its military spending would rise at the fastest pace in 4 years, warning of escalating threats from abroad at a meeting of its rubber-stamp parliament that will hand Xi Jinping a third term as president. The increase in the world's second-largest defense budget came as Beijing announced an economic growth goal of around 5% for this year, one of its lowest in decades. The country's planned budgets for the year put defense spending at $225 billion, a 7.2% rise and the quickest rate of increase since 2019. It officially rose 7.1% last year. Outgoing Premier Li Keqiang told delegates to the National People's Congress, NPC, that external attempts to suppress and contain China are escalating. National People's Congress set to approve Xi's third term as president. The armed forces should intensify military training and preparedness across the board, he said as he presented the government's annual work report to thousands of amassed delegates in Beijing's Great Hall of the People. The military must devote greater energy to training under combat conditions, and strengthen military work in all directions and domains, he added. China's defense spending still pales in comparison with the United States, which has allotted over $800 billion for its military this year. But analysts have said Beijing spends much more money than the officially announced sums. The ramped-up spending comes during a low point in relations between China and the United States. Beijing and Washington have butted heads in recent years over trade, human rights and other issues, but relations soured even further last month when the US shot down a Chinese balloon it said was being used for surveillance, a claim strenuously denied by Beijing. Top American officials have also repeatedly warned that China may invade Taiwan in the coming years, pointing to Beijing's increasingly assertive military moves around the self-ruled island, which it sees as its own territory and has vowed to bring under its control. Nicholas Swanstrom, director of the Stockholm-based non-profit the Institute for Security and Development Policy, said Beijing appeared to be investing in its capacity to take over Taiwan and keep the US out of the region. But James Cha, an expert on China's military at Singapore's Nanyang Technological University, pointed out that several countries across Asia were boosting their defense spending, in part due to their respective threat perceptions of the regional security landscape. Steady recovery. Experts expect few surprises at this week's carefully choreographed NPC, with thousands of politicians coming from across China to vote on laws and personnel changes pre-approved by the ruling Communist Party, CCP. Sunday's conservative economic goals followed China posting just 3% growth last year, widely missing its 5.5% target as the economy strained under the impact of strict COVID-19 containment policies and a property crisis. The growth target came in at the low end of the market expectation. But it should be taken as a floor of growth the government is willing to tolerate, said Shi Weijiang, president and chief economist at Pinpoint Asset Management. Given the very low base of economic activities last year, it is unlikely to see growth drop below 5%. Li struck a bullish tone in his speech, saying China's economy is staging a steady recovery and demonstrating vast potential and momentum for further growth. He lauded Beijing's growth-suppressing COVID curbs, abruptly abandoned late last year, and effective and well-coordinated economic and social development. The sustained growth in defense spending despite sagging economic expectations showed that security is now much more important for the national leadership than before, said Alfred Maluan Wu, an associate professor at the University of Singapore's Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. It is even, to some extent, more important than economic growth, he told. Xi dominant. Also top of the NPC's agenda will be on Friday's norm-busting reappointment of Xi as president, after he locked in another 5 years as head of the party and the military, the two most significant leadership positions in Chinese politics, at an October Congress. Since then, The 69-year-old Xi's leadership has faced unexpected challenges and scrutiny, with protests over his zero-COVID policy and a deadly coronavirus surge after it was subsequently dropped. But those issues are almost certain to be avoided at this week's Beijing conclave, which will also see the unveiling of Xi confidant and former Shanghai party chief Li Chang as the new premier. Delegates to the NPC, and to the concurrent political consultative conference that began on Saturday, will also discuss issues ranging from the economic recovery to improved sex education in schools, according to state media reports. Published in Dawn, March 6, 2023.